Previously on Pace.
Like, if we find ZKL, what are we doing?
Roman and Jackson see ZKL just kind of sitting on the floor. We were praying. Jackson, you just see Roman kind of enveloped in this paper, and then he's gone.
I cast each of you as being forsworn.
The two of you, alone with ZKL, as he kind of melts slightly on the floor, panting heavily. He has now stopped screaming.
Where the hell am I?
Seeing ZKL rainbow bleeding everywhere, Lily is going to have a flash of, some might say, reckless insight. So she's going to very quickly glance over at where she knows Jackson is.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson, I need you to back me up with this, okay?
Okay. With what?
This. Yeah, okay. And then she's going to drop to her knees and pray to Athena. Athena, I pray to you now in what must be one of the greatest turning points of my life. I beseech you to lay out the path in front of me. Grant me the knowledge to bind and the strength to endure, and I shall endeavor to deliver a powerful, powerful boon to your service. And I am going to activate my little boon thingy to get a +3 to my roll.
Should we make this roll now, or do you want to make it later when we're actually doing it? Let's make it now, and we can use that to guide what happens.
Oh God, okay.
I'm so nervous.
I'm so nervous. All right, so I assume it's going to be a practice roll.
It is going to be a practice roll. Let me set. There's a failure cutoff. There's a mixed success cutoff, and there's a full success cutoff.
Okay, and I have a +6 for this because I've invoked Athena, and I have a practice of +3.
Okay.
Okay, come on. Okay, so that's a 7.
Okay, let's get into it.
So yeah, after praying to Athena, Lily is going to turn to ZKL.
ZKL at this point, I should say, is lying there, not comatose, but just kind of clearly dying and not really able to do anything about it.
So like that phase where people are dying in the movies, where it's just enough that you can run up and cradle them and get in your final words.
Yeah, exactly. Or they can be like, "Oh, I always want to tell you I loved you," or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
He's in his dying throes, I guess they call it.
He's got between 10 seconds and 10 minutes, depending on how the cinematography works out.
And how much slow motion we use in the final edit. Yeah.
Jackson, could you draw up something of a basic stabilization circle?
Sorry? Where?
Around ZKL.
Why?
Feed him some power. To keep him alive.
No, why?
Because he might be useful to us.
Okay. God, I should not have promised to have your back. Yeah, okay. I guess I try to draw the circle.
Why don't you roll a practice roll for me as well, Jackson?
Kippos, you might come to regret this decision.
It's fine. You'll do fine.
Oh, actually, I did. That's a 3.
See?
Okay, cool. You draw a stabilization circle.
Okay. There you go.
All right. Thank you, Jackson. ZKL. It is by civilization that you have transgressed, and it is thus by civilization that you must atone. You have worked against one of our most sacred cornerstones of practice, that of hospitality. Your actions have stood you in opposition to most holy Athena, and against the bastions of Athena and civilization, you have cracked. I stand here before you now to offer you a chance. By Athena's power, you have been broken, and by Athena's power, I offer you a chance to be reforged. Serve order alongside me, and we together can reach great heights that neither of us alone could dream of. My offer is thus: pledge yourself to serve Athena beside me for the rest of my days, rise as my familiar, and from this, learn what has wrought you undone this day, such that you may work in order for the rest of your days. What say you to this offer?
ZKL is quiet for a moment, and you suspect, for a second, you think that he might have already died.
God, that'd be awkward, wouldn't it?
But he turns his head slightly to look at you. If you think you can handle it, I don't have a choice. I accept. You feel what you felt before and attributed to Athena. kind of flowing through you. But whereas that has often been a very comforting and comfortable feeling before, it's a lot. You feel like your skin is itching a bit at first before those itchings break out into what feels like full-on burning. You feel like your flesh is on fire. Can you roll a let's call it wits. No, let's call it, we have guts, right? Let's call it guts.
Yeah, we have guts. Okay, so I've got a +1 for guts. I'm hoping Athena can help me out here. Yeah, she did. So that's a +4.
Okay. Zedkiel has agreed to this, but there's still work to be done.
So much more work to be done.
You feel this power flowing through you. You got a 4, did you? Was that right?
For my guts, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have you take 2 physical and 2 mental stress.
I was actually just about to quip that I think Jackson's taking mental stress from hearing that.
Can you remind me, did we heal out? No. Because, so...
Are you out of stress boxes?
Yeah, so I've got a 1 stress box left, so I assume the 2 goes in there.
That's not going to be enough. No, that's unsuccessful. So here's what's going to happen. We'll resolve this in a little bit, but effectively it's going to cause permanent consequences to your character.
That's good.
The power of Athena flowing through you as a conduit into Zedkiel. Athena has agreed to give you enough power that is necessary to stabilize Zedkiel, but you as a conduit are not really in a position where you're equipped, especially on short notice, to be able to handle that. And so, Lily, you're burning as this is happening. What I'm going to do is, I know, out of character, Kippos, I know you've prepared this ritual a lot, which I think is great. And to really spice it up, I'm going to start a stopwatch.
Oh, Jesus.
And the longer it takes for you to successfully complete this ritual, the more time that Athena's power is going to be burning through you, and the worse these consequences are going to get.
Okay.
So I'm just going to give me a second. Does that make sense? What we're doing here?
Yes. Could Jackson do something about that?
Yeah. How can I help?
I'm gonna. There is possibility for Jackson to do something about this, but I'm going to start the stopwatch for that discussion.
Jackson, help.
Okay. How?
Something burning. And then she's going to draw herself up and launch into her next paragraph.
If Jackson wants to take an action, I'll pause the stopwatch while he's doing that, just because it's your time that we're measuring.
I mean, is this the sort of thing where Jackson going and just being a shoulder for Lily to rest on will help? Or I really don't know what more he can do.
Shit.
I think that's in character as well as out of character. So, Kip, why don't you give me your next paragraph?
To be bound together as familiar and practitioner is a ritual ancient and sacred, a cornerstone of the experience of the practitioner. Together, practitioner and other stand, each extending their self in mutual benefit. Thus does the binding of other to practitioner and practitioner to other mimic the very deepest building blocks of civilization. I ask for the second time, Zedkiel, are you willing to stand beside me, be bound to me as I bind myself to you, and face the world as practitioner and familiar?
Zedkiel has started to stabilize a bit as this ritual goes on. And it's your words, as you say these words, you feel the effect flowing into him still. And he lifts his head more defiantly and looks at you and says, yes.
Wait, I thought of a way I could help. Pause the timer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've paused.
Jackson hands Lily his unlit lumen saber, because it's meant to give it gives him a sense of calm and a bit of bravery when he holds it. That's one of its lighter perks, and I don't know if that applies to other people, but I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay, Jackson, I'm gonna have you roll again. Let's roll let's just call it a practice check.
It's a 3.
Okay, that has been moderately successful, so I'm going to reduce the amount of impact that this time is going to have.
Thank God. Okay.
Yeah, Zedkiel accepts this second part of the familiar ritual.
Cool. Okay. All right. This final part is going to be the longest and it's going to hurt me the most. So let's go.
Yep.
Zedkiel, you worked against the rules of hospitality. Thus, have you worked against the underpinnings of our civilization. You have worked against this aspect of Athena, and by Athena's grace, you have been cast down. Let it be known that your underlings openly spoke of traps and betrayal to be done, and further made attacks both physical and spiritual against your guests. Let it be known that under your roof you sat while your guests stood until pressed. You offered no nourishment until pressed, you offered no drink to wet throats, and while you offered the potential of nourishment to Jackson Jr., Alexandra, and Pentagon, you provided no material way for them to receive that nourishment. Let it be known that while you worked against the tenets of hospitality, I have upheld them as I can. I entered into this domicile with no intent to do harm or cause chaos. I clarified an invitation so as not to enter potentially uninvited. I gave gentle reminders of the duties of the host, and when offered hospitality, I accepted it graciously and with thanks. I have taken no actions of violence while I have been within this home that you invited me into. I now stand before you, a chosen of Athena, extending you the offer of sanctuary and hospitality where it was denied to me. I seek not to punish you for your wrongs, nor to use my rights as a cudgel to beat upon you. I seek to offer you another chance. Zedkiel, I offer you this bond as a bastion you may shelter behind, a way for you to reforge yourself anew, such that when I pass, you are whole and can once again work to make this vast and dark universe a better place for all. In return, I shall require that you in no way work or lay plans that will result in my demise or the permanent or long-term reduction of my power or self. I require that you hold to the teachings of Athena and dedicate your workings to her while I shelter you from the consequences of your actions. Finally, I require that you follow my instructions for you, though I will also promise not to not request aid beyond what I deem your capabilities to be, nor shall I request you to work in opposition to your nature. And so, I ask you for the third and final time, Zedkiel, do you consent to becoming familiar to me until the moment of my death, holding under the stipulations and rules that we have laid out?
I accept your terms as proposed. My quest has always been the search for knowledge, but I warn you, I and Grey are not the only foes you have to seek. So I accept your terms, and I will add, I will aid you however I can in the ultimate goal of avoiding the eventual death that will come across us all.
Very well. Then I, Lily Valdo, by the old rules of mortal, invite you into the world of man and mortal.
As the willing guest, I, Zedkiel, accept your hospitality. By our compact, I agree to share of my power and share in yours.
By that same compact, I agree to shelter and shield you from the repercussions of your actions here today. My home and hearth are yours to share, in the brick and mortar, the domain, and the spiritual.
I accept the offered shelter, and I agree to guard that territory as if it were my own.
I offer you sustenance, whatever form of nourishment you might need.
I accept your sustenance, and I agree to lend you the strength I gain in return.
I give you reprieve from the forces that hold you, as the old laws permit.
I'm just going to add in here, as this is happening, you see Zedkiel. He is regaining composure at a much greater pace now, especially after the parts about offering sustenance. It seems like he is starting to reform. The rainbows that he had bled out onto the floor have not fully vanished, but he feels like he is inflating again.
Hopefully the burning from Athena is subsiding.
Not yet, unfortunately.
Oh no.
By the compact, I guard you against those self-same forces.
I give you asylum from the forces that follow you, as the old laws permit.
By the compact, I follow you.
In recognition of the actions that have brought us here, Zedkiel, I offer to you my eyes. Athena lays claim over their sight at this moment. Thus, you will have the eyes of a mortal, coloured with the influence of a god. I charge you to see the mortal realm through these eyes, Zedkiel. Gain perspective that you have never held before, and be born anew beneath the protection of Athena and beside me.
In exchange, I offer you myself. I do not know what I will become under new influence, the power of a new god flowing into me and through me, but I offer whoever that is to aid you in your journey.
All right, that's our ritual. Shit.
The searing subsides from your skin, I think I was about to call you Athena. God, nice. I mean, almost
Yeah, at this
appropriate.
point.
Lily. So there was about a minute of solid burning on your body. Then there was about 5 minutes, actually 6 minutes of this like reduced burning from Jackson. So effectively, I'm gonna take a consequence that is a strength of 5, which is a long-term consequence. So, from this burning that has coursed through your body, I think, Lily, the thing that would be most appropriate, and feel free to correct me on this, would be marks, insignias, scars burned into your flesh in sigils of Athena.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah.
I'm talking about, I mean, I'm not talking fucking Wade Wilson levels here, but pretty heavily Athena's arms and face especially, but the rest of her body. Sorry, did I just call you Athena again? Lily's arms and face especially, but the rest of her body as well, are now and forever going to be covered in burns. Burns filled with sigils and runes of Athena. There's also, as a result, I think this has in some ways deepened your connection to Athena, which is a positive, but also these scars will mark you as taken to the world. And so there might be situations in the future where the world sees you as already taken and is less willing to work with and for you.
Okay.
You kind of look over yourself and see this happening, see these burns that have been left in your body, and you almost don't notice a bright flash of light in front of you. And you look towards where Zedkiel was lying, and standing on the floor there, softly preening itself, is a snowy owl, about 60 centimeters tall, softly preening itself. It looks back at you. Before it kind of raises its wings to their full height, and almost in the blink of an eye as it does this, those wings become hands again, and standing there with his arms outstretched is Zedkiel. Okay, I feel weaker.
You transgressed. It's only natural that there are consequences. As much as I can shield you from some of them, these laws, they are ancient beyond a way that I have to really describe them. And yeah, transgressing against them, well, it's not as easy as just getting out of it.
I understand. It's not what I mean. It feels like I'm in a box and I can't spread my wings fully because this box that I'm in is just too small in every dimension. Okay.
That might be a natural consequence of binding yourself to a mortal. I hope for your sake that it passes when I do.
That's a problem that we'll have to deal with another time, I think. Okay. Well, here we are. And you see Zedkiel kind of shrink down again back into his owl form, standing in front of you. What next?
Sorry, I'm a little shook right now. Like,
yeah, I actually rolled a guts check for Jackson, and he got a 0. So I'm just he's a bit in shock. I'm just not saying anything.
oh shit, that worked. Fuck. Thank you, Jackson.
That's all right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that happened. That's real life.
Yeah, yeah.
Over on the floor, Alexandra pipes up. Could you pick us up Also, hi, Zed, Kiel. Welcome to the team.
Of course, Alexandra.
Jackson's going to go and grab Jackson Jr. and then also pick up Pentagon and it's like, is it all right, like, if I put you on my other wrist? Like, is that like disrespectful to Roman or?
No, I think as a temporary thing, that's okay.
So I'll just be dual wielding some Grey Links for now.
Pew pew.
Jackson, could you bring Alexandra?
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, I mean, hand her over.
I think, Lily, your eyesight, I mean, it's been about 2 and a bit days. You've kind of lost track of time a bit. So it might have even ticked over into the 3rd day while this was happening. But as this ritual, as the power of Athena was flowing through you, you didn't really notice it at the time because your eyes felt like they were burning. But you can see again.
Right, perfect. Just in time for me to give my eyes to Zedkiel.
Just in time. And you see, looking at Zedkiel, his eyes, obviously, as a snowy owl, are big and prominent.
Are you saying that the dimensions might not work out?
No, I'm not saying your eyes won't fit into his eye sockets. I'm saying clearly part of him becoming an owl, a creature that is, I think, among all else, known for having good eyesight, is to do with this part of the ritual that you've put together.
Okay. All right. With Alexandra strapped back on her wrist, Lily is going to, sit across from Zedkiel and say, "Okay, well, it's time."
Yeah. Now that you're on our side, can you tell us what the fuck is going on?
First, Jackson, I think it's important that we finish our part of the ritual, the final promises. Zedkiel, if you would.
Kippos is addicted to being blind in this game, apparently.
It was a very literal offer.
Zedkiel jumps up towards you, like his wings. He flaps up and he lands on your right shoulder, facing towards you, and you feel the power of this bird. I mean, birds aren't that heavy because of their hollow bones, but you feel the weight and power of Zedkiel on your shoulder, pushing you down effectively. So heavy, weighing upon you. And he turns to you, and you kind of turn to face Zedkiel. And he jumps towards you and flies, flaps in midair for a moment. Jackson, you see kind of a flurry of feathers and a quick slash of blood. And Lily, you feel claws in and around your eyes.
Oh my god.
It reaching in, the predatory nature of this owl claiming its prey. And then all of a sudden, Zedkiel flaps back down to the ground. It is done. Jackson, looking over at Lily, you see this scarring around her face. These markings of Athena have become more pronounced. Her eyes are closed, and across her eyes are claw marks and scratches, scars that have immediately healed of these talons digging in. Zedkiel's eyes seem almost more glistening and prominent in response.
Well, I might need a few minutes. Oh.
It hurt, but not enough to cause any damage. Like,
there's no
other than the extraction of these eyes.
She doesn't need first aid or anything.
No. These are already, like, these are scars from wounds from long ago, effectively.
Okay.
Oh, Jackson, if you could get me a strip of cloth, I would highly appreciate it.
Your skin still feels a little bit. You feel like you're coming down off of a pretty bad sunburn right now, Kip.
Yeah, I need some aloe vera.
Yeah, exactly.
Where could I find a bit of cloth, Reuben? Like, do I roll for cloth?
This house,
or...
there's no, like, I guess there's some there's some drapes, I guess, is the best you're going to find, because this house was completely unfurnished before.
Okay.
And it's like a ruin now. Both from the fight and just from Zedkiel's power seems to have slipped away from
I
it.
don't have any scissors, so Jackson's going to quickly take his lumen saber back and cut up some of the drapes with the lumen saber to make a blindfold thing.
Perfect. Yeah.
And this blindfold taken from the drapes of the old residence of Zedkiel, you fashion it around your head, Lily, and that's that.
All right. I'm just going to reel for a few moments. Jackson, go ahead and ask Zedkiel some questions. Zedkiel, please answer Jackson to the best of your ability. That was a request, not an order.
Understood.
Okay, I guess for starters, do you know where Roman went?
I do not know for sure. There's a possibility he is at... No, I cannot say. There's a possibility he is at any number of locations.
Okay, I guess we'll start the search in a bit. God, just like in and out of character, I'm still reeling a bit as well.
Same.
What did you mean when you said we were loose ends?
Do you know what Grey is?
I assume he's like another angel?
I thought so too, and I think he was, but he's not anymore. At least I don't think the term applies as we know it traditionally. We're architects. We don't create, but we shape. And that has been something that humans have been encroaching on more and more and more as time has gone on. And our territories, our jurisdictions have been shrinking and shrinking. But Grey found a way to evolve. He calls himself an evangelist. What he is, he does what we do, but on a human level. He takes human creations. He takes humans who can create, who have created new things, and unifies them and shapes them under the Grey banner. He's become something more. He's become a god of the new world.
Oh.
Okay. That's fucking terrifying. Okay. And you were working for him?
When I first met Grey long ago, we had the same goals: to preserve ourselves. And so we were working in these together, but as time has gone on, he has become more and more powerful and more sees himself as the next generation. I think he still held some allegiance to me and my kind, but it seems that's gone now too.
Okay.
Oh.
What do you suggest we do next?
I took this deal because I had no other option. I wonder if I'm still in the same position. I wonder if all I have brought myself is ignorance of when my end will come.
Well, we can certainly hope not.
It's appreciated, Lily, but it doesn't come just for me.
Yeah. What does Grey want to do with his power?
He did have a goal originally. I cannot say if that is still intact. When we first met, the real problem with who we are is there can be no long-term gain by our kind. As the world forgets who we are, so too do we slip away. Does our power ebb? Grey's goal was to build that up, and you saw some of what we were trying to do there in Clearwater. It seems Grey has found a better way to do that. But the ultimate problem still is the same. Whatever it is that the unknown is will eventually consume us all.
I take it you don't know what the unknown is either, then?
No. Others have looked and then been lost. Grey, his goal may be to build power to confront the unknown. It's all in service to the ultimate goal, though, of consolidating his own creations. He won't rest. If he does manage to look into the unknown and know it, he won't rest.
I suppose we somewhat have to ask, is that a bad thing?
What do you value?
Knowledge, wisdom, humanity, civilization, continuation of all these things.
Gray has seen firsthand how knowledge cannot be trusted to your kind. It warps, it distorts. You take it and make it your own, if it even survives being forgotten. Any knowledge that Gray gains, he will be unlikely to let go of without asking a price.
He hoards but does not share.
He shares at a price. Is that sharing? It's selling. You also misunderstand. Gray doesn't create knowledge. He doesn't research. He doesn't do anything. He architects the creations of others, humans who have genuine creative spark.
I think you're making an excellent point about why we need to stop him.
Stopping Gray won't remove knowledge, it will free it.
Can I... wait, sorry, out of character for a sec. Am I totally misremembering, or didn't the Grey Links, like Jackson Jr. and stuff, they looked funky in the sight, didn't they? Like they were silhouettes of broken people or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are, like, Jackson Jr. and Alexandra and Pentagon? Like, is there's something going on there? Like, do you know what they are?
And Zedkiel looks to them, and Pentagon speaks up.
Yes, I think I would like to know. I think I would like to know what I am.
And Zedkiel says, Little one, I don't know what you are, but I know that you are. Whatever created you, you are you. You are somebody.
Okay. Well, that about wraps it up for my questions. I suppose we've got to figure out a way to not die now.
Yeah. Why was Gray interested in killing us, taking us out of the picture?
Your loose ends.
God fucking damn it.
I don't think I've connected these dots for you, but I had assumed you'd be able to connect them yourself. What Gray is, he is powerful because of every time somebody uses a piece of Gray technology, or every time somebody gambles on a stock or places their faith in a system, that's him. That's a little bit of him that is in that. His name is ubiquitous with the technologies that he's created. That name is his strength, but it's also his weakness. You understand, the only thing he fears is that name being taken away, being hampered. So anything that could get in the way of that is what really makes him afraid.
Okay, so if we, like, disrupt the Gray network and make people think Gray tech, like, their network is unreliable, that...
Is that something you feel you would be able to do on a scale large enough to affect change?
I don't know, Zedkiel. Okay, I'm just brainstorming. All right.
It's his weakness, but it's also his strength. Calling it a weak point maybe is giving you the wrong idea, because his name is a prayer. His name is power. Unless you have a way to seriously impact the fact that when people think of creation and technology, they think of him, I don't know if that will be worthwhile. And at this point, Jackson Jr. speaks up and says, we pray to our creator, Gray. I see what you mean. As an example, I see what you mean. It's all him.
Sorry, wait. Alexandra doesn't do the praying, right?
Alexandra does pray, but to Athena.
Well, Athena is my creator.
Okay, that's fine. Like, that's better. Could we make Alexandra's whole thing infectious?
I think that if we did, that might be something akin to a god throwing its raw power against another god in their domain.
I mean, well, if we have to pick gods, one's trying to kill us, the other one I assume you're in pretty good graces with right now. So, yeah?
Lily just smiles contentedly.
Do you have any final questions for Zedkiel?
Why did you put Baxter on Clearwater?
Good fucking question.
We only had a limited number of places that we knew were relatively safe. The fact that you three were able to stumble across Clearwater already meant that we were scraping the bottom of the barrel. Baxter was at one of our experiments in artificial intelligence and sentience. We didn't expect him to get infected with the other one, but they crossed paths.
Okay.
Sorry, infected with the other one?
Clearwater as a town and Baxter were two different experiments. They weren't meant to cross-contaminate.
This is what happens in big organizations. Like, different departments aren't talking to each other. Yeah.
Once again, I would like to point out that I was right. Yes.
I'm cutting that out. You will get no gratification.
Okay, and I assume Clearwater itself was just like a power boost sort of deal? Like, keeping some people in a situation where they boosted you up through worship?
Yes, experimentation with worship and the power that it can provide. This was one of my terms with Grey. I attempted to have him not consolidating all the power for himself, and so he set up these enclaves like Clearwater for me. But I didn't realize he was working on a much grander scale behind the scenes, and I can't feel a connection to Clearwater anymore.
Well, damn.
Okay.
It is at this point, Jackson, sorry, let me confirm. Are you left-handed or right-handed?
Jackson is left-handed, so he's wearing Jackson Jr. on the right and Pentagon's on the left.
Yep. It is at this point, Jackson, that your left wrist starts to vibrate, and Pentagon speaks up.
I've got a message here. It's from Reuben.
This episode of Pace was produced from the donations of the Duff Media community. If you want to become a donor yourself, head to patreon.com/duffmedia. Thanks to our players, Elliot, Kippos, and Linus. If you'd like to talk with fans and the crew, head to duffmedia.com/discord. And of course, Pace is based on the Otherverse setting created by Wildbow. Support him at patreon.com/Wildbow.